I picked up the tank from Two Brothers in all its glory, no more dents, beautifully gloss black, and now I've got to work on this that goes back in the tank, if you remember from a few months ago. This is part of, I've forgotten now whether it's a 2-year service anyway, for you to change this part here, this filter. So you've got to be able to know how to do this if you're doing your own service. It's not that difficult, you just got to be a bit careful. Everything in here is surprisingly expensive actually, and this pump, that's £153 if you think, oh, it's time for me to change the pump. So if it was working fine, leave it alone. This little bag at the bottom is full of, all I can say is stones. I don't know what's in there, somebody will put me right. Make sure that there's no tears, there's nothing coming out, because this is essential you have it. This is £33 from Motorworks. The filters are probably the cheapest part, they're £13.20, this bit here, which I've got here, ready to replace. One part that you must check is this pipe, this U-bend, really. That looks nothing, but that is actually £30.30. And if it's perished or it leaks or anything like that, you will stop. You might be up the top of the Pyrenees and you're not going to go anywhere. And it's a difficult thing to do on the road. So if you are suspicious about this, don't just put any piece of pipe in there because it will close. It's moulded into that shape, and I suppose that's why it's so expensive. When we take it off here, we can see if it's still slightly flexible. I hope it's okay. It's such a lot of money, isn't it? But be very careful with the this is electronics that I think tells you your fuel level. May be wrong, just don't catch it. And this O-ring must be replaced. What disturbs me about this, and I've got a new one from Motorworks, so that's fine. They're of course not very much, but if that failed, all your petrol come out of the tank. It would be a disaster, wouldn't it? You could have 20 litres all over the floor. And it's all due to this O-ring. So whatever you do, change it and put the bolts up to their right torque, which is only, I think, 6 Newton meters. We'll check on that later. And I'm going to start with maybe half a gallon in and just see if there's any leakage. You certainly don't want it happening when you're out. The tubes, now these two here are where the tubes come up to, here, the vents, so you can blow through and they're coming out well. They're both coming out well. These are the fuel pipes themselves. So the fuel as a circuit that comes through and goes through this filter this way. You must note that arrow there because your new one, I've not looked at it, but hopefully it's got an arrow. Oh, it does, yeah. You see the new one's got a little arrow there, and it must be the right way, which is of course the same way. So that's the new filter. That's what you will change every couple of years. I need to really, I'm working in my office because this is a clean job, so this is my office desk, so this is very filthy at the moment. I'm just going to go down and clean this. Quite amazed that these were made in the Czech Republic. So I'm going to go and clean it. There's your electric plug, just to get most of the dirt off, and there's that flat side that I spoke about when we took it off. It's got to be in the right orientation. So this is a delicate and very expensive piece. If you want to change everything, it's a very expensive piece. Been able to clean it up just a little bit, but not very much. Actually, it's ingrained into it. Got the loose dirt off. When you undo this filter, there's still some petrol in here, so in the garage I just broke off these clips and the petrol drain there. I can now pull the filter off there, and there's still more petrol. So surprising how much petrol is in that old filter. So now the new filter can go back on. Remember, the arrow goes that way. So this time I have the Jubilee clips from Motorworks. Now they're not normal Jubilee clips. Number one, they're stainless steel, and secondly, they're completely round inside. They haven't got the grips that you normally get, which would damage the pipe. So if you're going to get these, in fact I would have been a lot better off buying the tool in the beginning, but that was a few years ago. So this is quite flexible, this pipe, so I'm going to not change it. That goes on there, and that goes on there. Your arrow's going the right way. The Jubilee clips come in not quite to the end, just a little bit in from the end. Now you've got to be careful this doesn't foul. So if you had that down there with the screw down there, you would foul. So just make sure that this clip unbelievable, this whole unit, this pumps out at 3 bar. That might not mean a lot until you think that that's more than your tyres. So it's actually very, very simple to just replace the filter in that way. I'm just putting that down there. I usually put a little bit of silicone grease on it. The next thing I have is move that to one side. This is the petrol tank end, and again I just blow through these tubes, make sure there's no blockages. So this one here, can you see this one here, goes round and into this one, and that connects under the tank and it goes off onto the ground. This isn't cleaned up yet, but there's a little hole there that's caked up with mud actually. See a little bit of mud come off there. That's for rainwater. So the rainwater comes in, remember that's on top of this, the rainwater will get in and it drains away through there. So you wouldn't think they'd even think of that. So that's the rainwater pipe. The tank is back from Two Brothers now in all its amazing glory, no dents, just looking brand new. So I can start to assemble, first of all, the fuel cap itself in here. The new O-ring, I just get some silicone grease on my fingers, just a tiny bit, and just rub it into the O-ring just to keep it flexible. So here's the fuel tank top itself with a little floater and the two pipes. and I realised that I don't know whether it goes in that way or that way. It's 6 positions. It's got to go down on the right hand side. So let me just try it. And it just fits, of course. Making sure that the O-ring doesn't move in that position, and it comes in from the side. It can only be one of 2, I think, where the pipes come out correctly. So let's go for that one. I've sanded down the cap. It was not in a good condition and just sprayed it, and that just literally goes in there. And 6 stainless steel torque bolts that I took out. Just a little copper grease. The actual fuel pump is next. These are the 2 pipes that have got to be put on. Quite difficult because it's inside, upside down, you'll see. First thing I want to do is just rub some silicone grease on this new O-ring that fits in there. I just put a little bit on my finger. And then I can just rub it in, locate it in there. See, it's a perfect fit, whereas the old ones tend to grow a little. I have to just make sure that it sits there, of course. I might put a little bit. A little bit more grease to stick it in there. This is really awkward because you've got to get these 2 pipes on to the underside of the fuel thing when you can't see it, and you've got to get the clips on. Probably that. So water one. Don't forget it. There it is. You've got to remember that this flat goes near this U-bend, but I've got to get the hoses on. So the one with the cross on is that one, and the other pipe. Okay. They're on, but they're not fully pushed home. So in the end I've had to twist this jubilee, hook it round the other way, take it off and turn it round so that it doesn't foul the edge. It's quite tricky, that. Yeah, it just sits right in. So that jubilee clip has to be in the right position. Just make sure your O-ring is correct, which it is. And now we have 6 bolts. I have new bolts because the other ones were very corroded. So 6 brand new flange bolts from Westfield Fasteners. The original ones get so corroded because of where they are. And they start biting into the nylon. It's 6 Newton meters crosswise. Now many torque wrenches won't go down that far if you need a 1/4 inch. Tang Tools 1/4 inch goes from 5, I think it's 5 to 25. 6. 6, 6. So I think I've got them all, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts torqued to 6 Newton meters, all new stainless steel bolts. The tank is ready to fit back on. I'm not ready yet, but I can put it away and it's all complete. Look at the rust on that spark plug. That may be the problem with the other side.